So I do want to say sorry for the glare in my glasses, but that has to do with the amazing sunshine we have today. So most of you guys know I live in Wisconsin, and so it is the middle of January, which is usually cloudy and super cold and just not the best weather in the world. But today it's going to be in the 40s and the sun is out. It's like spring in January. Like, I guarantee when I go out later there will be people in shorts and no coat on. It's gonna be a great day. Hello everybody and welcome to Lindsay's Little Library. So I officially celebrate my 1-year YouTube BookTube anniversary this week. It was on the 16th. I've officially been here for a year, which is really exciting and went really fast. So I've been contemplating how to kind of celebrate this milestone with my channel for a while. I looked up some different tag videos and wasn't really impressed by them. I thought about going back and kind of reviewing what I've all read the year, but that didn't really spark my fancy. But I was reorganizing my bookshelves because I had to make them look pretty because I was on the What Should I Read Next podcast. It was like not this past Tuesday the 16th, but it would have been the 9th, January 9th. I'll leave a link below for that podcast. But anyways, Anne Bogle had done a call out this last summer for people to call in and explain how they organize their bookshelves. Literally parked my car in the parking ramp at work and called in and left a voicemail about how I organize my bookshelves, and I was chosen as one of the people, which is super cool. But to go along with that, I had to clean up all of my bookshelves in order to send in a picture of it. So in that process, I realized that there's a whole lot of books on my bookshelves that I haven't read yet, that I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I haven't read them. So that's what this video is going to be about. So hopefully going through this, I get reacquainted with some of these books, get excited for them again so I can move them from my TBR shelf to my red shelf, and hopefully start sharing them with some friends. So let's get started. I've got quite the pile here. I'll go over a few of them. I'm a little embarrassed by a couple of them. Bear with me. Okay. First one up, and I know this has made its appearance in a few TBR videos, and I still have not read the darn thing, even though I have fallen in love with this author. It's What Alice Forgot by Liane Moriarty. How have I not picked this up yet? So this is about Alice, who is she wakes up one day and realizes that the last 10 years of her life is missing. She doesn't know what happened. The last thing she remembers is that she was married, she had kids, she was doing the whole mom thing, and now it's 10 years later, and things are totally different. So we go through kind of understanding how and why and what happened in those missing 10 years in this book. So again, great premise. It's Liane Moriarty, so I know I'm gonna like it, but I haven't picked it up yet. All right, next up, it hasn't been on my TBR shelf for too long, but I remember when I bought it, literally wanting to read it at that moment, and I haven't read it yet. So it's The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. This is based on the story of, I don't think it's like a memoir or anything, but it talks about the women who basically had to work with radium and they didn't know the side effects of it. They were actually nicknamed the Shining Women or the Glowing Girls or something like that because they literally would glow because they were working with radium. So it talks about their when they were picked to have this job as a very prestigious thing, they felt like very honored and special to be able to go and do this, and then later find out how dangerous this is. But really interested. Of course, it's historical fiction, which is like it's my top genre of choice, so I still can't believe I picked this up. Next one I'm getting to it, I promise, I really do. Salt of the Seas by Rudy Sepetys. Ooh. She wrote Between Shades of Grey, which I fell in love with last month. Devoured that book in like 2 days. It's just gotta get read, and I can't believe I haven't read it yet. But this is based upon the true story of, and I'm looking for the name of the ship, the Wilhelm Gustloff. It was a passenger ship that was traveling, taking people to safety out of Germany or out of Europe, and it was shot down, destroyed, whatever you want to call it, one of the biggest tragedies, nautical tragedies of the war, but it was hidden from a lot of people. They didn't really want to talk about it. It was not made public, so can't wait to get to that book. Next one, I don't have a whole lot of psychological thrillers that I am embarrassed I haven't read yet, which is good because that means I'm getting through them. But I do have this one, The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. Psychological thriller, so I don't know a whole lot about it, nor do I want to. I try to go into these books as blind as possible. I feel like I get the best experience out of them that way. But I've heard mixed reviews about this one, so I think that's why I haven't picked it up. But I still want to. It still intrigues me. I still bought it for a reason. I just gotta get to it. So that's on my list. It doesn't help that I did lend this to a friend of mine and she said it wasn't all that great. And sometimes I take my friend's opinions a little bit higher than, say, a random YouTuber I came across. But she's also told me other books that have been fabulous and then I couldn't stand them. So it doesn't mean I'm not gonna like it. All right, next up, another historical fiction, Stephen King's 11/22/63. I'm so excited about this book. The whole Kennedy assassination, again, intrigues me. It's so interesting. In fact, I did a paper on it, on the whole conspiracy theory. It was either like senior year of high school or beginning of college or something like that, and like really dug into this, and it's just so interesting to me. So why have I not picked up this book? I'll tell you why. Look at this. Look at that thing. Huge. But there's hope because I'm currently reading Lonesome Dove right now, which is another huge chunker of a book that intimidated me, and loving it, and I'm actually flying through it a lot faster than I thought I would. So that's getting me excited that I might actually be brave enough to pick up this book. This centers around, there's some fantastical elements in this. There's some time travel involved, that basically there's an English teacher who's kind of given this duty to go back in time. There's a portal in a diner somewhere in his town. Go back in town and prevent the Kennedy assassination. Right? Sounds so cool. I've heard awesome things about this one. Someone I work with came and she read it like literally in a week, this huge chunker of a book, and was basically like, Lindsay, what is wrong with you? Why have you not picked this up? And I have no answer for her. So that's on my list too. Next up, I might as well just pick off the top of the pile, right? We've got a couple of similar ones. We've got My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I've heard this is funny. I've heard it's a little bit of a romance. It's a lighter read. I believe it's a YA. Centers around the true story of Lady Jane Grey. Sounds awesome. Again, heard really great things about it. Just not sure why I picked it up yet. Same with this one, Jane Steele by Lindsey Faye. First of all, her name's Lindsay, so I mean, she's got to be pretty awesome, right? Second of all, it is a retelling of Jane Eyre with a bit of a serial killer twist to it. Basically centers around this woman named Jane Steele. She had a pretty rough life growing up, and she leaves some dead bodies in her wake. So I can't wait to read this one as well. All right. I think we'll finish off our historical fictions, and we'll go with this one, Glory Over Everything by Kathleen Grissom. This is kind of the sequel to The Kitchen House, which I adored The Kitchen House. So why have I not continued it? I have no idea. But yep, Glory Over Everything, definitely. Gotta pick that one out. Then, I have a lot of fantasy books. So we've got Warcross by Marie Lu. Like, I literally pre-ordered this on Amazon, so it was at my house the day that it was released. Still have not read the darn book. I've heard this is similar to Ready Player One, where a character, what is her name? Amika, I think. She's a hacker, and she's hired to kind of oversee this game of Warcross, just to make sure people aren't cheating, and she finds herself in the game. Yep, cool. Anything referenced or similar to Ready Player One, I'm on board. I loved that book. I've heard really great things about this book as well. Can't wait to read that one too. Then I have another one I'm very excited to read, but it's part of such a huge series that I'm not sure I'm ready to commit to that quite yet. And it's the Mortal Instruments series, pretty much. City of Bones, haven't even touched it. I think I read like the very start of it a long time ago. I know I'm going to like this, but there's like 57 books in the series. Okay, that might be a little exaggeration, but that's a lot of books. This isn't just a trilogy or a duology, which I feel like I can conquer and handle for a while, but this is big. I'm not sure I'm ready for that, but I do still want to read it. It does sound exciting to me. It's still here. I've got them. I've actually got a few. I think I have the first 3 books. Next one I have is Skype by Neil Shusterman. This sounds so stinking, so interesting. So we are in the future, and all diseases, all basically natural ways of dying we have conquered. We are basically immortal, but we can't stay that way because we'd just be overpopulated. So there are these people who apply for this job as the Skype, and it is their duty to determine who dies and how they die. So it follows 2 teenagers who are on the path to becoming Skype. They don't really want to, but it's kind of, they've been assigned that duty and they have to learn how to do that job. Right? Sounds so good. Next up, I have An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir, another series. I think it's a trilogy, fantasy. I don't know if it's dystopian or not, but I know there's 2 characters who are kind of unlikely to team up, but they team up and there's battles and there's fights, and it's An Ember in the Ashes. It sounds awesome. The other one I have is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adier. This sounds so good too. So there's a prince who takes a bride every single night, and by the morning she's dead. Like, he goes through them like underwear pretty much. And the character in here, her best friend marries the prince and ends up dying, and so she kind of takes it upon herself. She's going to marry the prince and she's going to kill him before he can kill anybody else. So yes, it's actually a duology, so this is the first of the books, but I've heard great things about that. I have not read Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which I don't know why. This is gosh, how do I explain this? It takes place in outer space. It's kind of, the whole way the book is written is in like emails and maps and text messages, and it's just a very interesting written book. I've heard really great things about it, but I haven't read it yet. Next book I have, I literally bought right after I heard Sarah from Sarah's Langston talk about it. Basically anything she reads that she likes, I know I'm going to like. Our book tastes are so similar, it's actually kind of scary. But How Many If You Don't Know the Words by Blanca Maris. Again, she loved it. I literally picked it up because she loved it. I was excited when I got it. I haven't picked it up yet. Sorry, Sarah. I will sometime. I promise. And then probably the most embarrassing book that I haven't read yet, and I have no real reason why I haven't read it, is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I'm such a big Harry Potter fan. Like, absolutely love them, devour them, obsessed with them, and I have yet to read this. And I don't know why. Part of me is a little nervous because I haven't heard great reviews, but I'm not going into it expecting it to be as wonderful as my original experience with Harry Potter. I don't have that expectation, but it's still Harry Potter and it's still the story and I want to know what happens. I just haven't picked it up yet. I will. So there you have it. There's my pretty big pile of books I'm embarrassed that I haven't read yet, even though I've been on BookTube for an entire year. So hopefully between now and my 2-year BookTube anniversary, I have knocked this list down just a little bit. That would be great. It's a good goal. So yeah, I do want to say a really big thank you to everyone out there who has subscribed to my channel, who has left comments. I've made some wonderful friends in this last year. It's so awesome to be part of a community that has such a passion and love for books the way that I do. I don't have that in my day-to-day life. I have my book club and I have my book friends, but to literally talk books every single day, I think I would drive them crazy. And I probably have before. So I really appreciate your support, your comments, our book discussions. I love it. And I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. So feel free, like, comment, subscribe below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.